Right, continuing with our transformational graphs video. This is a typical exam question that has come up in the past. Now with this question here, they give you a graph and the coordinate as well. Now remember please, this is the x coordinate and then this is the y coordinate. So if you haven't memorized the rules or you haven't got the rules in front of you, go back and watch the video so you know that which way will this graph move. Remember there's 4 types of movements you can have. You can have up or down or left or right. And in addition you could have reflections, but we're not going to count that as a movement. So with this particular question, you've got your x coordinate here, so remember that x always goes first, and that's your y coordinate. Now the question is asking you, write down the coordinates of the minimum point of the curve with the equation f of x minus 2. So if you remember the rules, if I had f of x minus 2, the first thing you have to ask yourself is it inside the bracket? The answer is yes. So which axis will it affect? It will affect the x-axis. Okay, now you've got to decide which way am I going to move, left or right. You can't move up or down because it affects the x-axis. So remember, if it's a negative, you move towards a positive. So therefore, because the minus 2 here, I'm going to move this way. So therefore, if I've got 2 here already, then I add 2 more, I'll end up with 4. And this y coordinate will remain the same. Because remember, I'm shifting it this way. I'm not going up or down. The second rule over here is 2f of x. Now remember, if you have f of ax, remember we did this in a previous video, if the a is outside the bracket, you have to multiply the y coordinate. Okay, sorry, I got that right. So therefore, your y coordinate here is minus 1. So I have to multiply that. Remember, it's a stretch as well. So the x coordinate will stay the same. Now minus 1 times 2 is just minus 2. And then again, remember with this rule we had the 2 is inside the bracket, so we're going to divide the x coordinate. So if you divide 2 by 2, you get 1. So therefore your new coordinate will be 1 minus 1. Now part B of the question, it says the curve y equals f of x is reflected in the y-axis. So again, if you remember the rule, if there's a reflection in the y-axis, we'll have f and then minus inside the bracket and then x. Again, it's a 1 mark question and that's all they're asking for, is that do you recognize if the minus is inside the bracket, it's going to reflect on the y. If the minus is outside, it reflects the x-axis. Feel free to pause the video now and have a go at this question. Okay, now over here it says the curve with the equation y equals f of x has been transformed to give the curve with the equation y equals f of x plus 2. So again, ask yourself, is it inside the bracket or is it outside? It's outside. Which axis will it affect? It will affect the y-axis. By how much? Am I going up or down? It's a positive, so I'm going to go up. So my y coordinate was minus 1. So therefore if you go up by 2, it's just saying what it's saying, describe the transformation. Now it's not asking for any coordinates. So you have to write down moves up by 2 on the y axis. Now it's important, 2 things are important here. You mentioned by how many times it moves up and you mentioned the axes that it moves up. Now also look at the marks. It's a 1 mark question, so even though it's an A-star topic, like I mentioned before, it's not that difficult if you know the rules and how to apply them. So let me just give you a quick recap. The first question was f of x minus 2. So again, ask yourself which way am I moving, left or right. It's in the brackets, it's affecting the x-axis, so therefore I want to move towards the right. Add 2 to there. Right, the y coordinate stays the same. 2f of x, again you multiply on the y coordinate, so minus 1 times 2 will be minus 2. This stays the same, this changes. Again over here you divide by 2 because inside the axis, you divide the x coordinate by 2. We're leaving you 1 minus 1, the y coordinate stays the same, the x changes. Reflection on the y axis, the minus is inside the bracket, reflection on the Have I got that right? The reflection on the y-axis, yeah, is inside the bracket, and reflection on the x-axis, the minus is outside the bracket. And again over here, it's asking you to describe. Again, for easy mark, you just say move up by 2. A lot of students just say moves up by 2. That's great, but make sure you write down on which axis, just to secure that mark. Okay, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at info@protutor.co.uk.